You're listening to 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, WBEVAM, Beaver Dam, Dodge County, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
It's time for the Damn Sports Show, presented by Real Sports Cards in Waupun, featuring Mr. Smooth himself.
My who's hot is Wally.
Yeah, that's fair.
Smoking hot.
Corey Sparks, and a real athlete.
I am an athlete. I am going to show up and dominate.
Wally Lukaczynski, covering everything Titletown and pro, college, and high school sports around South Central Wisconsin. Here are these heroes? Really heroes?
Just proving the hero that I am, just in the nick of time to be tortured for all of your enjoyments at home.
Okay, here are these heroes now. Broadcasting live on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, Daily Dodge TV, and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Happy Monday, everybody. So much to cover today. Gabe Neitzel joins us in the first block of today's show. We'll talk Women's U.S. Open a little bit, Wally's golfing endeavor, and I do want to talk about the Hairdown Showdown, so that'll probably bleed a little bit.
We don't have to talk about it.
Second block. Oh, it went. It happened.
It happened. I mean, did I at one point
for like 2 months
have a birdie putt? That's what people should be focused on.
We will not focus on what happened after that. Top 3 high school plays of the week will kick off the bottom half of the hour. Our Wisconsin professional sports teams cursed. You may or may not have seen this stat that we'll bring up in that segment. And since it is Monday, we review the past weekend with Who's Hot, Who's Not here on the Damn Sports Show on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam. We are streaming live on Daily Dodge TV and on the brand new ESPN Wisconsin app. That's your state, your teams, your ESPN. I was just about to ask how your weekend was, but I was a part of most of it.
Yeah, so newsflash to a lot of people out there that probably weren't aware. McKenna Nelson's good at golf.
Yeah.
I found that out firsthand.
State golf champion.
It's a different sport than when I was playing out there.
Her bad shots were like the shots of our lifetime.
It was like a cannon coming off of that drive. And like you'd occasionally be like, all right, she's trying to drive a par 4 and it'd be on the fringe. You could tell she was like, I didn't like that. I'm not happy with what I did. I'm like, that would have been the shot of my lifetime.
Yeah.
You're 40 feet. I mean, she almost chipped in and chipped out.
3 times.
Like 3 times. Yeah. I every time I watched her, I'm like, I don't know how I'm even supposed to keep this competitive.
Speaking of golf, we're going to have Gabe Neitzel join us now here on the Damn Sports Show. You can hear him live on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy weekdays from 7 until 9 a.m. on ESPN Milwaukee and the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube channel. Gabe also hosts On the Tee with Stephen Watson, which was live from Erin Hills, where the U.S. Women's Open was this past weekend, where McKenna Nelson was this past weekend after she had a quick 9 in against. It wasn't that quick. You had a lot of shots.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
No problem. But Gabe, thank you for joining us. Good to hear from you again here. What was the atmosphere there like at Erin Hills, and how was your weekend?
It was great. I mean, I spent a lot of time out there at Erin Hills. I thought that Wisconsin showed out for the U.S. Women's Open. I don't know if it came across on TV, the crowd size, just because it is such a big piece of property. Based on the way you guys were talking about your own golf games, I'm assuming you have not been out there.
I have not.
Yeah, okay. But it is. It's a huge piece of property, and it's tough to kind of get everybody all in one space. But I was out there a little bit yesterday morning. Just some of the people following. Charlie Hall had a pretty significant gallery. I mean, everybody seemingly was following Nelly Korda all 4 of her rounds. So I thought the course was in tremendous shape. Shout out to Zach Reineking and the staff at Erin Hills for getting that thing as spicy as it was, despite it not being the best winter or spring for grilling grass and getting that ready. So they had it spectacular. And I thought it was a really good test for the women. And Erin Hills, as a golf course, was able to kind of redeem itself after what happened in 2017 when the winning score was 16 under par.
Wow. Well, and to answer your question, I think they have hired on security that they won't even let me near the parking lot there. There's no chance.
The Wally preventers.
They would not even.
I'll tell you what. Wally, you can, and this is for anybody out there, if you're looking for a really good drink, the Fescue Rescue. Go to the Erin Hills, just sit at the bar, sit on the back patio, enjoy, a meal, look out over the beautiful golf course, Fescue Rescue. That is anybody. That is for anybody, of course, provided you're over the age of 21.
You can get in there.
Yeah, I was see that as long as they're like, hey, he can stay in the restaurant, just don't let him anywhere near anything with grass, and I think we're okay.
So, Gabe, you're a golfer. You've been at Horicon Hills before, and many other courses. You did the 100-hole challenge for the MAC Fund not too long ago for a great cause as well. But can you describe for the average golfer how the conditions of those courses at major championships, like Erin Hills this past weekend, how are those different, and what does championship level difficulty look like, whether that be the pin placement, the rough, anything in between there?
Yeah, I mean, Erin Hills does have wider fairways, and they penalized you if you didn't hit it in the fairway, and the rough was really thick, and it wasn't necessarily just you have to hack it out and hope you can advance it. I mean, if you got a good enough lie, you can send it, but where Erin Hills really showed out was on the greens, and Erin Hills has large greens. They're huge, but each green has like just different little knobs and different little areas where you can put some of those pins. So even though the green is huge, you have to be precise in how you're trying to get it there. If anybody was watching yesterday, I mean, hole 14 is a par 5, and a lot of these ladies were able to go for it in 2. But it was about where you were able to hit that ball. And if some tried to use this backstop on the back part of the green, where it run up and then kind of slope down. But if you hit it a little too hard and it got caught up in that rough, you weren't going to be able to hold it onto the green because of such a severe downslope. And it's hard to explain just how fast the greens are. I mean, they use the way that the device that they use to kind of measure how fast the greens are. But you're not going to be able to find greens as fast as they had them, especially yesterday where the stimp meter was rolling out to 13 and a half. I guess the best way is maybe, if you got a hardwood floor, maybe putting on that. It's so incredibly quick. You're not going to find your local golf course, whether it's Horicon Hills, whether it's Old Hickory back there in Dodge County. That's going to cut their greens to that because it'd just be too difficult for a lot of the average players out there. So then, you've got to be very precise. And it is just a completely different level and a completely different test. Than even what they even face out there on the LPGA Tour week in and week out. It was just something that was completely different. And I think the course showed out really well. I hope they get another opportunity at either a men's or women's major. They've got a lot of the amateur events, 5 more coming in the next 10 to 12 years. But unfortunately, with all the great golf we have here in the state of Wisconsin, we've got nothing for the best men and women right now on the calendar, and a lot of those events are booked out. The nearest, I think, women's major is 2037. And for the men, I believe it's 2042 for a U.S. Open. And I know Whistling Straits is hoping to maybe have another Ryder Cup eventually, but the nearest Ryder Cup that's probably open is 2045 in the United States. So it's going to be a long time before we get another major. So I hope everyone had an opportunity to go out there to Erin Hills. Because, again, as a kid who grew up in Horicon, to have that golf course that close, I know it's not Dodge County, it's down, it's in Washington County, but it's that close to where I grew up, where everybody listening to this is. I hope they had an opportunity to go check it out and enjoy some of the best players in the world, because I'm not sure when it's happening again.
Yeah, absolutely. Having it right there in your backyard, it's a special time. And speaking of sports in our backyard, Gabe, I saw a graphic last night on Twitter. I couldn't believe it. I had to literally verify it to make sure it was real. 22 of the last 32 postseason losses for the Packers, Brewers, and Bucks have come against teams that have gone on to play in the Super Bowl, World Series, NBA championship. Is that stat demoralizing or encouraging to you that the pro teams right here in Wisconsin seem to consistently be so close to breaking through but falling short?
I don't know how I feel about that, Wally, because I saw the same thing on social media, and I've thought about it a little bit. I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, it's pretty crazy and wild. I mean, when you think about it, the Brewers haven't been, out of, the opening round and gotten to that divisional series round in baseball since they went to the NLCS back in 2018. So, even though, they've taken on some of these teams like the Diamondbacks a couple of years ago who go on to the World, take on the Rangers in the World Series. Because it happened so early, I don't know how close they actually were. Same thing with the Bucks this year, and especially after the Damian Lillard injury happened. Okay, you lost to the Pacers. They go on to go to the NBA Finals. I don't know if I feel like the Bucks are closer necessarily, just because the team they lost to is now playing for the championship. But it is a hell of a thing. Like, right, you beat one of those teams from Wisconsin, and suddenly you feel really good about your chances of going to the championship round of whatever sport we're talking about.
That's crazy. Well, honing in on the Packers, one of those 22 occurrences happened this past season where they fell to the Eagles, who ended up winning the whole thing. It feels like this team has built out the wide receiving core, and the offensive line has shuffled around quite a bit the last few months. And as that happens, a lot of attention goes under center. So switching over to the Packers, Gabe, Jordan Love was banged up a bit last year in year 2 as a starter. What do you think a realistic year 3 jump looks like for a healthy Jordan Love?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it was really weird, and I know Dan Orlovsky sent out the tweet today as well, where everybody seemed to be really defensive about Jordan Love last week because the word regression was used. Oh, Jordan took a step back. All right, let's just leave that aside. And because a lot of times when one question gets asked, everybody just kind of focuses in on one word. Just like in the Jaden Reed report, like everybody kind of focused in on the Jaden Reed report that came from Adam Schefter of, oh, he's the Packers' top receiver. Like, what? Really? He's okay, I guess he is, but I don't know why you're assuring that, and maybe that gets blown out of proportion. For Jordan Love, I will say this. We can argue whether or not he regressed, took a step forward, whatever you want to say. But the fact of the matter is, if the Packers want to get to where they want to go, and that's to a championship, and they don't want to be, add another team to one of these lists that we were just talking about with Wally there, Jordan Love's got to be better.
Yeah.
Like, he has to be better. And I understand he was dealing with injuries last year, but I also look at that as part of the learning curve. Like, he didn't really have to deal with too many injuries in college. Didn't have to play through, too much of anything. But in the NFL, you have to learn how to play through that. I mean, obviously, Brett Favre was the king of it here in Wisconsin. We're just used to the quarterback doing that. But Aaron Rodgers, low-key, did that a lot, too. He played the end of 2014 on a torn calf, won a playoff game. Won games at the end of the season to make sure that they would get a bye in a home playoff game in 2014. I mean, he played with basically a broken knee in 2018, that when he came back into the game after being taken off on a cart and led that unbelievable comeback against the Chicago Bears. And obviously 2018 didn't end the way the Packers wanted it to. But there's a history of quarterbacks in Green Bay and really across the NFL of finding a way to be efficient and still be a really good version of themselves while dealing with injury. Okay, you've learned how to deal with that last year, Jordan. Now, going forward, you can't use injuries as an excuse. If you're out there, the expectation is the expectation. And you have to go out there and you have to perform at a certain level. And in the NFL, you need your quarterback to perform at a high level. Jordan's been good. They need him to be great. And he hasn't reached that greatness level yet.
That's a fair point.
Well, speaking of great, though, so talking about a little bit of a positive thing after what seems to be a lot of negative that we've been talking about so far, the Brewers are playing great baseball right now. Jesse Nelson's Brewers. Mind you, he had a discussion that he didn't say about Pat Murphy a couple weeks ago. 2 straight sweeps.
They love doing that on that show, don't they?
Literally, and you're right away.
House giving up after they lost a couple of games to the A's and
doom and gloom.
It's their favorite thing to do is like give up on the Brewers before June or before July 4th. It's like their favorite thing to do on Willie and Tausch. It's unbelievable how quickly they just want to pack in on the Brewers year in and year out.
Well, and meanwhile, at this time, you just watched a sweep over a team that many people think is a World Series favorite on the road. Their bats are white hot all of a sudden. They're within a game and a half of the wild card now. Do you think that a division could still be in the cards? Or do you think that maybe that start, the slow start, it's going to be a little bit too much to overcome? Now you got to just focus on getting a wild card.
No, the division's very much in play. I mean, again, we're not even. We have 102 games left. This thing has barely started, boys. And the fact that the bats are coming to life is fantastic. Now, of course, because it's the Brewers and we can't have nice things. Like we had to have the scare yesterday with Christian.
Yeah.
The dude is just finally starting to launch the ball in the ballpark, and then he's got to have the hand contusion. Luckily, again, it's not broken. It's day to day. So hopefully he'll be back in there mashing sooner rather than later. But the biggest thing with the Brewers is somehow, despite having all these injuries with the pitching was fine. Yeah, the bullpen's probably been overtaxed, and hopefully you can alleviate that with Jose Quintana being healthy, with Brandon Woodruff coming back, and some of these starters that you can trust to go 6 innings into a game. Maybe if you get lucky 7 innings instead of consistently going, ooh, all right, well, we got 4. Hopefully we can get a 5th, and then we got to cobble together the rest with our bullpen. So hopefully the bullpen and the starting pitching can figure itself out as it starts to get healthy. But you weren't going to go anywhere if Jackson Chourio, Christian Yelich, and William Contreras weren't going to be contributing at the level they have this past week. Because Christian Yelich, and he just won National League Player of the Week, just announced a few moments ago. So, you're obviously expecting a lot out of him, who was an all-star last year. But Contreras has been the best catcher in baseball. Offensively, defensively, he's been spectacular. And obviously, Chourio did what he did in the second 2/3 of last season. You needed those guys to step up, especially with no Willie Adames. And for the first 2 months, Chourio had some moments, had some really bad ones too. Contreras was pretty inconsistent. But now you're seeing what this offense can be. Not that they're going to go out there and score 17 runs like they did on Saturday all that often, but you're seeing what this offense can be when those guys are contributing. Because now everything else starts to fall in line and make sense. But when, and no offense to these guys, because I think they're great players, but when Bryce Terang and Sal Frelick are your best offensive players,
not great.
The ceiling is only so high.
That's fair.
Because those guys aren't hitting the ball out of the ballpark too often. Again, they are certainly contributors. And those guys getting on base now ahead of those guys, and you can do some different things with the lineup. Everything will fall into place. But you need those guys that can drive the ball into the gaps and out of the ballpark to be contributing the way they have this past week.
Yeah, they've just been slugging a lot better, and I think it's fair to say the Brewers will have more all-stars, and I'm going to use that as a bit of a segue if they continue to keep this up, especially on the offensive end. Gabe, we brought this up a couple of weeks ago. I feel bad that we're even asking you to entertain this, but Wally and I are doing another Friday Picks punishment in about a month and a half when it comes time for MLB All-Star Weekend. That's going to be our end date. We've been throwing this idea against the wall for the last 2 weeks since I brought it up the first time. Wally originally wanted us to do stadium steps until we hit the height of Mount Everest, which is 29,000 and way too many feet. Nearly everyone in the office here has shot it down, or at least suggested we adapt it in some way, shape, or form.
Give the people what they want.
I beg of you to try and talk Wally off the ledge. Is there any way that you could see us adapting this?
I've been with this company. I was with 1430 and 95.3, probably before Corey was even born. All right, I've been around for a while. And back then, back in 2002 when I first joined the company, we probably didn't have an HR department that would say no to this terrible idea.
There's the key.
But unfortunately for you guys, the Good Karma Brands has grown a lot in the last 23 years.
I'm okay with this, Gabe. I don't want to do this.
So I'm guessing HR is going to say no because you guys could do some serious damage to yourself.
I'm an athlete, Gabe. I feel like this we could do this.
We saw in the bowling challenge.
Like for Radiothon, do it for the kids.
The golfing challenge. Yes, you are an athlete.
So it's just like I'm willing to, I guess, move off this because again, people like you, smarter people than me, are saying that this is a bad decision. I'm putting this homework assignment out there. If you ever think of anything that we can do, I'm fine with torture. So if you ever think of anything, I want to implore you to let us know.
I'm just hoping that you guys cut that and use it a lot. Just Wally saying, yeah, I'm fine with torture.
Yeah, that feels like that could just get slotted into our show open. You already say something pretty close to that.
Yeah, well, again, I torture myself for everybody's enjoyment. That's what I want to do. So again,
except I'm behind you in this challenge.
That's
so I
what
would be getting
feel bad
tortured.
about.
All right, whatever. We'll figure it out. Gabe, we appreciate the time as always. Glad you had fun this past weekend, and we'll talk to you next Monday.
All right, sounds good, boys.
All right, appreciate it. That is Gabe Neitzel. Again, you can hear him live on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy weekdays from 7 to 9 a.m. on ESPN Milwaukee and the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube channel. I am now 2 games behind you. That's not good.
And thank God for it, too, because coming out of that baseball practice last week with the Beaver Dam team, I can't move my leg in a certain direction, which tends not to be ideal when you're about a week removed.
And speaking of HR.
Yeah, well, again, I asked for forgiveness, not permission, and mission accomplished. And here's the thing. If I have to get surgery on it, no, but it's not going to be any skin off anybody's back.
Goodness.
I'm good.
You make that sound a lot simpler than it probably
is. It is. Just put me under the knife. I'm all right.
You're a warrior. You battled through 27 holes of golf in under 24 hours.
Probably win without a knee injury.
Yeah, and the back nine of that, if you will, was against McKenna Nelson. 2024 WIAA Division I Girls Champion McKenna Nelson went toe-to-toe with Wally in what we called the Hairdown Showdown at Old Hickory Golf Course. Very, very thankful that they let us go out there and do that and record the whole thing. You'll see the series live on YouTube, hopefully in the next couple of days to a couple of weeks. There's going to be a lot of editing, but we got like literally every shot on camera. So we appreciate Justin.
And I had
Wolski
a lot of shots.
there were. If it was just McKenna, it'd be we could flip that thing around. But I still don't know what you scored. We're going to recap the event itself, how it went, who won, and who's getting their head shaved when we return here on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam and Daily Dodge TV.
Attention.
Sports Show, brought to you by Real Sports Cards in Waupun. You're listening to 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam.
Just about to ask if this was in the rotation.
Nope.
Why would it not be?
Well, I mean, it's still in play. Anytime I can get an excuse to play the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
What is the excuse? What's the significance of today?
I was a shipwreck on Saturday.
There it is.
And unfortunately, as good old Captain McSorley said, we are holding our own.
There's the connection.
I was holding my own on Saturday until I wasn't.
I do want to quickly squeeze this in because something else crazy happened. It would have been also
Saturday? Yeah, Saturday
also
night.
Saturday. If you are looking for a one-stop shop for all things sports cards, head on over to Real Sports Cards in Waupun. Do yourself a favor and go in there. Or you can simply check out their app from home or wherever you are. Whether you're into sports cards or Pokemon cards or anything in between, Real Sports Cards has you covered. With live breaks streaming right on the app, you can grab individual cards on the go, be a part of a group, and watch for your favorite players and teams as the packs get opened in real time. Go to the Apple or Google Play Store today. Look for that orange logo. And take your collection to the next level with Real Sports Cards, your local resource for all things sports cards, Pokemon cards, and more. And their owner, Tom, pretty cool guy. And I would have said that before this past weekend anyway, but a lot of what they get is, at least for the sports cards end of things, not Pokemon, is Topps. So Tom's got some pretty cool connections through the Topps team. But in general, I think Tom is just a cool dude. He's got a lot of resources. He does as well. He does his fair share of marketing and networking and finding ways to connect with very important people who can get you into Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals, which is where he was when the Pacers advanced and moved on to the NBA Finals, which will get going in just a couple of days. That's crazy.
And he loves the Pacers, too. It wasn't even like he was just like at a game. No. So he was thrilled to be there. And how cool is it when you get to be in person to see your team punch their ticket to the ultimate prize? And they are now in the NBA championship. I know that's cool. Much to the chagrin of a lot of Bucks fans out there, knowing what happened this year. But the opportunity for Tom to be there, I was like geeking out and sending pictures, just like literally just vibing on the court.
Yeah, like mere feet away from Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton holding the trophy.
I can't remember who I said this about recently, but it also very much applies to Tom. He's the Dos Equis guy.
Yeah.
Where he's just casually the most interesting man in the world, and he has a story for everything.
And he doesn't, like, unless it's brought up, usually he's not the one to talk
No,
about
he doesn't. He's the humblest guy you'll ever meet in your life.
He didn't tell us coming up, there's a chance I go to Game 6. It's just like, you check his Facebook, because we're friends with him on there, and you just see, oh, he's on the court. He's at Cambridge.
He is as cool as the other side of the pillow, as the late, great Stuart Scott would say. And, yeah, I was happy for him to get out there. I'm crossing my fingers. Cool. We get to see him out there at some point during the finals. And, again, now it's kind of got me in a weird spot where I don't have a connection to OKC. I don't have a connection really to Indiana except for him.
Halliburton.
I can't really. I know he's from the Oshkosh, but – again, he didn't stay here, so it's hard for me to be like, yip yip hooray. He's even, a Cubs fan now instead of a Brewers fan because he leaned into that heel role.
Stand-up guy.
Of course he does to you. So for Tom, I got to stress that, I will be hoping that the Pacers can get it done so that he can celebrate in style.
Tom and his team over at Real Sports Cards in Waupun, they're super knowledgeable. Highly suggest you pay them a visit. Again, in Waupun, or he's doing breaks along with his other teammates there. On the Real Sports Cards app. And they've got a great feature if you just want Brewers cards, if you just want green and gold, if you just want Milwaukee basketball, if you just want Indiana basketball, if you want a Tyrese Halliburton, you can select the specific team themselves, watch your break in real time, and then you have a better chance to get your favorite player. So super cool feature there. Tom is a super cool guy. So I'm glad that his Pacers went to the NBA Finals. McKenna Nelson Hairdown Showdown. We've been bumping this for the last few weeks, well over a month now. Wally faced off with McKenna this past weekend at Old Hickory Golf Course here in Beaver Dam. They did the back nine, and it went. And I do want to give a huge shout out to Old Hickory Golf Course.
Oh, what a gorgeous course.
We do it in the video as well, but not only for the gorgeous course, but for allowing us to go out and do that. They were packed. I got there at like 7:30ish, and their putting greens are packed. There's already people going onto the range. There's people with their full get-up. Golf carts are flying in and out. People are using their push and pull carts, playing the full 18, getting it out of the way early. Like, they've got some gamers there. And it was not a quiet Saturday morning, and they still fit us in, which was super nice.
You said it, I think, when we got there, but you're like, there's not a bad golfer in sight?
No, that was 10 or less handicappers hour.
Oh, 100.
We're not beating anybody who was there.
No.
At that hour.
No.
If you are going to a golf course, a golf course that nice too, at 8 in the morning, you are good at golf.
And thank God that they were nice enough to start us on the back nine so that we weren't like feeling rushed, because dare I say, I had a couple extra shots on McKenna.
You are good with pace of play, all things considered, though. If anything, I was keeping you behind because you had a camera crew behind you that had to make sure they started recording before every shot. And even then, I feel like we got into a pretty good groove.
If you're bad at golf, be fast and bad at golf, and then you're fine.
Yeah.
So I go out there, I make it a priority that I'm going to play quick. The problem is that poor McKenna, she would have times where she takes her drive, and then she's like following me on a wild goose chase, back and forth from rough to rough, from trees to water, because I just have to keep like, all right, am I past McKenna's ball now? No.
So I thought about that, and maybe the gap in skill level wasn't this great, but she is the girls golf state champion. She has probably played in pairings before where somebody hits it out or is messing up the rough a little bit, and she just doesn't do that. So I'm sure she's waited 10, 15 minutes before in between shots, maybe just not that many times.
No, and I will give her credit
But
too.
she's probably been there.
Witty kid.
Oh.
Witty kid.
Yeah.
The amount of times that I
comebacks
would
were
get
good.
hit with like the, oh, by the way, you're out. Thanks, McKenna. I figured I am farther away from the ball. I really appreciate it.
Hole
But then
14 had teeth.
it did. She warned me about it too, and I did not listen. I still managed to hit one. I'd probably get Lyme disease if I tried to go and find that ball. It was just like basically
You hit it flush.
in the Amazon rainforest out there. And thank God again that she was patient with me. But she also hit you with the compliments that weren't compliments.
That went straight.
Yeah,
but it
wow,
was
nice
like,
shot. That one was straight, and I like
But it was
duffed
like a
it.
fat shot that went 50 yards. Yeah.
And I'm like, thanks.
It did go
I
straight.
appreciate it. Like,
Yeah.
what would you do to fix a shot? Oh gosh,
There's
like
a lot.
yeah.
Where do I
like,
start?
where do you start? Thing I'm like, that's not what I was looking for. I was looking for a little positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a moment.
She was
About
hilarious.
3 shots in, or 3 holes in. I was only 3 back with the handicap, mind you. So really 6 shots back, and I'm like, I can do this. I just need her
9 back.
Well, yeah, but it was like really
6 plus
3
the 3.
because she gave me the 6 shots. So I'm only 3 really back. I'm like, I can do this. I'm locked in. And then you just had, I can't remember. There was a hole that I think I
14
threw
was
up
the
a
blow-up
10.
hole.
Yeah, and I threw a 10 at it. I'm like, this
So that was
might have been
your
it.
9, 10, 11, 12.
So spoiler alert, we are going to have the video out this week. I highly recommend watching. Again, she's fantastic. Interview, fantastic to hear her story and everything she does with golf.
We were able to pick her brain a little bit. Like, you'll hear occasionally in there, obviously you're going to get the shots, her piping at 260 down the fairway. But you're going to hear, like, McKenna, how do you figure out how far you hit the ball? McKenna, what was it like to compete for your school? Because she does a lot of individualized tournaments where she's just representing herself. What was it like to don the green and gold and win something for this fan base, this school, your teammates, your coach?
This town.
Yeah, and then, little nuances of how she prepares on a day-to-day basis. Just picking the brain of one of the best golfers in America, regardless of age. That was pretty cool.
It was. I mean, it has a different sound when it came off her driver.
Everything was hit flush. There was no thin or fat shots, or I got too much behind it. She'd still be not pleased with certain shots, but again, her standards are miles above what we would even think of.
Oh, it was absurd. And then to consider the fact she was playing with a camera, playing with a goon like me,
Yeah.
who I would wish I could say I talked more trash. It's really hard when every shot is right down the middle of the fairway.
You had a lot of ammunition at the beginning. You're like, yeah, here's my hope. I think I can go in and shock the world. And then I think after about 3 or 4 holes, your will was just broken.
I was
you weren't talking a whole
emotionally
lot.
bankrupt by
Yeah.
about halfway through that. I'm like, this is ugly.
Yeah.
And if again, spoiler, I did not come out on top.
You were given 18 strokes over 9 holes.
And I used them all rather quickly. I do think that when we look back, I probably kept it within 10 to 12. That's my hope. We got to the point where I stopped counting because I'm like, what's the point?
That's the funny part is we're not going to know the score until we go back and look through the video.
Because it was truly, it is so far out of hand now. It's not even, I think at one point I made a joke on the 18th hole that I'm like, she's going to have to 23 putt this if I have a
Then
shot.
Maybe I'll have a shot. Yeah. There was a shot. I guess we won't give up too much details because we still want you to watch the video when it goes live on the Daily Dodge TV YouTube page. There was a point where from a certain distance over 100 yards,
Want to say 130? Not a big deal.
you stuck one closer than her. And her dad specifically, was elated.
He was thrilled. He hit her
Let's
with
go.
the McKenna, you're out.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's go. Did I
It's your
3-putt it
turn.
after that? We don't have to talk
the
about
short
that.
game was a different. That's just, you could have picked apart any part of her game, any part of that. Like even that instance, you're both 130 out. You stuck it closer than her by a few feet, and she got the lower score because her short game is just top tier.
It was
like everything else.
It was
She's a
demoralizing playing with
guaranteed
her.
2-putt, if not 1-putt, and then she chips some in almost.
I pity
Yeah.
the girls around the state that have to be paired with her.
Yeah.
Because she is the nicest kid in the world.
Uh-huh.
But when you are just out there watching this kid go unbelievable and just everything, it's machine-like.
She's steady. There's never, like, you can tell, if you really read into it, you can tell if there's a shot here or there that she's not pleased with, but she's not slamming the club.
But she's already,
Not
she
swearing.
flushes it.
And then she goes out and just, like, knocks the next one close.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's the next shot. She's already back into the game. Like, all right, that one's behind me.
She's
What
a
do I
pro
do now?
psychologically, too.
She is. And that, man, I can't wait for you guys to watch it. Unfortunately, I'm going to probably be watching it here before too long without my gorgeous locks up here on top of the head, because Jenny Nelson, McKenna's mother, will be in, we believe, tentatively penciled in for next Friday. And next Friday, she will be in studio. Unfortunately, you will not be here, but I think we're going to turn it into a fun show that Friday where we're going to have people throughout the office possibly popping in.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
As I am, stripped of my hair and identity.
We'll have to talk about how we're going to do that. You used to have a buzz cut.
I did for like 28 years of life.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. I will say
Getting your
this.
identity back, if anything.
My spin zone is it's summertime, and I'm about to sleep like a baby on that pillow at night.
Go rent a convertible. Feel the wind on your head.
Yeah, go on like some roller coasters. Make sure you get that experience too. And well, so I'm gonna spin it into. She's doing me a favor, even though I was begging on the 18th hole for her not to go through with the bet, and she unfortunately
Also on video.
did not follow through with that. Wanted to see me tortured, which is fair. Maybe I talked a little too much, and I wrote a check I can't cash. So she's state champ again. I guess she actually won it. I'll allow it.
It was validated. I'm wondering, this will probably be a question for Jenny, how long that's going to take? Like, one would just say, oh, you're shaving it, but you're intending to donate this in some way, shape, or form. So there's a reason that I cannot do this. It has to be a professional. Like
Yes.
I wonder how long that's going to take. Is that going to be we can knock this out in a segment, or will you just progressively get more bald throughout the hour?
I think that you're going to see the actual like long locks because you're probably going to take scissors to it.
Right.
That'll probably take a segment and a half. The buzz cutting after that's going to fly. Because it's truly
you're
like
just
take
getting
it to
rid of
the wood, it's like right down to zero on top, and all of a sudden I'm going to be able to start rocking that Beaver Dam baseball cap because I won't have the hair nonsense up top to worry about it.
There you go. Yeah, we had an eventful couple of days. Went to the Beaver Dam baseball and softball practices, covered a regional championship, which Beaver Dam softball won. They've got Watertown tomorrow. You did your golf thing.
Yeah.
We had the Good Karma Brands John Moser Children's Radiothon golf outing as well.
I played even worse there.
Well, that was probably good for you. You had to get some shots out, and you definitely played better when you went up against McKenna.
I'm locked in now.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to see me next year.
Now, if you played her again,
That's what I'm saying. Like, if she runs it back next year, I might have to get my rematch. I don't know what that'll be for, but she better be careful. Now that I know the course now.
yes.
That's what it is. So she's probably in trouble with more times out there for me.
You were given, what? When did we have her in studio? You were given a couple days to know, 14 is tough. It has teeth. Although that might be worse, because then you have to think about it.
I did think about
and
it.
then you get to 14 and you go, it's here.
I had a great tee shot, and then
did.
the rest of these shots happened that hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That video will be out soon on the Daily Dodge TV YouTube channel. Thank you ahead of time to Justin Wilski for gathering all the footage that Charlie Dern and I went out and recorded. Thank you to McKenna Nelson. Thank you to the Nelson family. Her grandparents were out there. Boyfriend came out. Mom, dad. They all got to kind of have a little fun, and we had our own little entourage of golf carts out there for a bit. So that was cool.
It was the closest I'll ever get to feeling like a professional with
Yeah,
having
you were in an
people.
event. That felt like a pro-am.
I had people watching my tee
There was
shots.
a gallery.
I definitely felt like I had her dad's support. He was rooting for me until
He genuinely wanted you to do well.
He did, and I love that family. They're great people.
Yeah.
So big thanks to you. You kind of undersold you and Charlie waking up on an early Saturday morning. We all know that derails your Friday night plans too.
I had coffee.
So I'm very, very thankful for you and very thankful for McKenna and her family for making that a very fun and very special day.
It gave me the golf itch because you see someone flush so many shots like that and you go, I want to go out and do that. But then I'm going to go out and by about 3 holes, then I'm going to be like, I'm over this.
Yeah, I broke my will. I don't know if I have that same response.
One more time, can't overstate it enough. Thank you to Old Hickory Golf Course as well for allowing us to go out and do that, for hosting the Good Karma Brands John Moser Children's Radiothon golf outing, and then turning around and bright and early, 8 a.m. the next day, during a busy tea time scheduling period, allowing Wally, McKenna, myself, Charlie, and McKenna's family and friends to get out there as well for what's going to be a pretty cool video to go back and see. So that was Wally's golfing experience. Hope you enjoy it. I cannot wait to see that come out. We'll have some highlight videos coming out in the next couple of weeks here as softball and baseball go on their postseason runs, hopefully deep ones. We'll have some highlight videos of Wally and I going through their practices and Wally's knee splitting in half over second base. When we return, top 3 high school plays of the week and our Wisconsin professional sports teams cursed. Interesting stat for you that we brought up with Gabe Neitzel. We'll dive back into what that means next on the Damn Sports Show, presented to you by Real Sports Cards in Waupun on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam and Daily Dodge TV.
Attention sports fans. Whether you're chasing the hottest rookie card, that next big autographed sports card, or looking for expert card services, Real Sports Cards is here for you. For everything from sports to Pokemon cards, visit the store in downtown Waupun today. Go to the Apple Store or Google Play and download the Real Sports Cards app for all live online card breaks. Watch, collect, and win from anywhere. Real Sports Cards, where sports fans come to play.
bucks and more on the Damn Sports Show, presented by Real Sports Cards in Waupun. Stay tuned to 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam.
Welcome back to the Damn Sports Show, streaming live on Daily Dodge TV, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, and the brand new ESPN Wisconsin app. Your state, your teams, your ESPN. We're going to talk in a moment about whether or not Wisconsin sports teams are cursed. We'd love to hear from you. 920-887-9595, our talk and text line. We can welcome you into the show and add you to the discussion as well. But first, we were covering a regional championship last week for the Beaver Dam softball team, and that's where all 4 of our top plays of the week come from. Here are your top 3 plays of the week, plus an honorable mention. Your top 3 high school plays of the week. Addie Damon back to work for the second inning, and here is an early swing and a deep fly ball to right center field. Maddie Bryant, outstretched glove, full-on sprint. There's out number 1.
Good chance you see that on the Damn Sports Show next week.
Yep, you're right. Lineup second inning. First pitch swing, it's off the glove of Damon, fielded by Julka. She throws to first and got the runner by a hair. Rehearsed that repeatedly yesterday, nearly did it to perfection. Here's a line shot back up the middle. Damon for 1, throws to first for 2, and I think that makes up for it.
No, I would say so. What a play. Addie caught that ball behind her head.
Payoff pitch on the way for the regional. She got her looking. Addie Damon wire to wire. And Beaver Dam wins it 5-2. They are regional champs here at home. Yeah, huge shout out to the Beaver Dam softball team. Not only did they tolerate us in between regional playoff matchups, by the way, they beat out Sheboygan North 13-0, had to gear up for a very closely contested and competitive 5-2 win in a 4-5 matchup against Slinger. 1 full day of practice in between there. And we let them get their stuff done, but still, they could have gone home, rested, schemed more, and instead they allowed us to go in for about 15 minutes, field some fly balls, get some grounders, run the bases.
Make a fool of ourselves.
Make a fool of ourselves and show off just once again how amazing of athletes we have here in this community. So shout out to them again. That was the honorable mention. Maddie Bryant nearly laid out, put on the afterburners in center field. 1-6-3 ground out from Damon to Julka to Lumens. For number 3, number 2 was a line shot comebacker that was snatched out of the air by Addie Damon, throwing over to first, and I think you're getting the common denominator theme here. Addie Damon K's for the win, her second of the day. Remarkable defense behind her, but she was also a big aspect of that. She flashed the glove like 3, 4, 5 times in that game.
Yeah, and they had to get 21 outs, and she was probably responsible, when you include the strikeouts, for half of them, if not more. Yeah. She was fantastic in that game, holding a strong slinger. Owl's offense, only 2 runs, and sets up for that big matchup. I'm very excited. I get to be on the call for tomorrow as they go to Watertown in the sectional semifinals, an opportunity to take on that rival Watertown Gosling squad.
And some housekeeping stuff, because the times and details keep moving around due to impending weather tomorrow. Not even going to say the R word. But I think now we can say 4 p.m. is when that game is going to start. Pre-game coverage will probably get going at about 3:45 p.m. Both are simulcasted. Daily Dodge TV, 1430, ESPN Beaver Dam. Just an hour later, Beaver Dam baseball is scheduled to go up against Sheboygan North. That is a 3:14 matchup. The Golden Beavers can host through their regional, just like how Beaver Dam softball did through their regional round as well, and through the regional final. That starts at 5. Pre-game coverage on Daily Dodge TV starts at 4:45, and then we will join that game in progress. As soon as softball is done, it'll jump right over to baseball. You'll probably join in like the second or third inning if we had to forecast it, right? There's going to be some overlap there. But both of those simulcasted. We're following these teams all the way through, hopefully very lengthy postseason runs. And speaking of the postseason, we're pretty sure Wisconsin sports are cursed. You found this stat. I want to give you full credit for it. And I've been seeing it on social media because that's how internet cookies work now. As soon as you brought it up, I've seen it like 10 times today. 22 of the 32 times that Wisconsin sports teams have fallen in the playoffs, the victor of that playoff matchup made it to either the big game, the NBA Finals, or the World Series. Is that either, I mean, there's a couple different angles you could take.
I know.
It's horrible luck. We continuously come up short. Or a lot of NFC championship appearances in there. There's an NLCS in there. We're really close.
I think that if you're setting yourself up in the postseason to be in a position to be playing, whether it be in that Final Four or in the final 8 teams, it's just instinctually, like naturally, you are going to play a lot of teams that go far if you lose those. So now it just becomes that question of how close are they? How do you get over the hump so you are that team going? I'm trying really hard to take a positive spin to it because it's split across the board. I think the Bucks had 6. I want to say the Brewers it was 7. I think it was 9 for the Packers in that number. So I mean, I'm optimistic that again it just shows that it's consistently good, a high quality product that Wisconsin pro teams are putting. It's just that question of how do you take that next step?
Yeah, I can't be as optimistic with the last 3 that have happened. The Packers, wild card rounded. The Brewers, wild card rounded. And now the Bucks, in the first round, lost the 3-6 matchup to the Pacers. You can go back to those other games from a few years ago, the Trent Grisham game against the Nationals. That Nationals team ended up being really good. Again, it was in the opening round for the Brewers. But the NFC Championship appearance against the 49ers, the Falcons game, like, you can go back and say, yeah, we were definitely close. But there's also the occurrences as of late where you can argue you just ran into the wrong team at the wrong time. But also for the Packers, if we want to tie this back to the green and gold, yeah, you were on the road because you were a 7 seed because you didn't play well enough in the regular season. Well, you were in a tough division. And you were 1-5 in that division. So there's a lot of different angles you could take. 22 of 32 is actually wild, considering
it's insane.
There's a decent amount of these that were not the NLCS, the Eastern Conference Finals, or the NFC Championship. I think you're frustratingly close. That's a good way to encapsulate all 3 of those. Is it tough luck at times? Sure. Are you close? Yeah, because you're making it to the Final Four in some of these. But you're not there yet because we're not talking about the fact that you got to the big game or the NBA Finals or the World Series.
And you don't feel like with any of these, the last 3 that you mentioned, did it feel like if you got out of that game that you were going to go? Not really.
You needed a borderline Cinderella run you could have used with a couple of those teams.
So I guess we'll wrap with this because we are going to be Damn Sports Show special for our Who's
Why
Hot,
would we
Who's
have
Not.
a long 4th segment? No.
If you had to pick one, which of those 3 would you say is closest? For me, it's got to be the Packers.
The North is so tough.
It is, but if you find a way to even go 3-3 in the NFC North next year, you give yourself a real shot.
I can't say the Bucks, especially because we have no clue what's going to happen with Giannis. Yeah, probably Packers, then Brewers, then Bucks. I think the Brewers are closer than people want to give them credit for. They've gone through so much.
Looking hot right now.
Yeah, and they are looking hot right now. Jesse Nelson's Brewers. So I'd probably go Packers, then Brewers, then Bucks. When we return, who's hot, who's not, the best and worst of the weekend. This one's actually fun. We've got some disc golf, some teams that are hiding certain tabs on their websites, and much more on the other side of the break here on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam and Daily Dodge TV. I'm not even going to let the music bed go. I love your bumpers, but I have
Please, by all
pressed us
means.
for time. If you are looking for a one-stop shop for all things sports cards, head on over to Real Sports Cards in Waupun or check out their app. We said it before. If you are into sports cards or Pokemon cards or anything in between, Real Sports Cards has you covered. With live breaks streaming right on the app, you can grab individual cards on the go. Be a part of a group and watch for your favorite players and teams as the packs get opened in real time. Go to the Apple or Google Play Store today. Look for the orange logo and take your collection to the next level with Real Sports Cards, your local resource for all things sports cards, Pokemon cards, and more. Man, bless our producers. I'm making life really hard when we
It
have
ain't just you, buddy.
a 35-second closing segment. All right, who's hot, who's not? The best and worst of the weekend. My who's hot is going to be the Colorado Rockies. Oh, they're 9-50. Why would they be who's hot? Their attendance at home is middle of the row, 16th in MLB in attendance. That's pretty good.
It ain't bad. I tell you what, a lot of teams would
faithful
be.
fan base.
That is very faithful. That's a lot to ask. And I tell you what, my who's hot. I've been hearing around the grapevine. Nate Wilkie's a disc golfer.
Oh, me and him are going to have a lot of fun.
You two are gonna have to have like a disc golf
I already love
date
Mr.
on the
Wilkie.
way.
Now we're cooking.
He's a hero. I love that man. Looking forward to that for you.
Who's not? I'll let you lead off here. This is hilarious.
Yeah, so this is kind of both of ours. We discovered earlier today, teams that are under 500, there's a wide spread on their websites where they do not have the standings as a tab.
The Pirates are one. The Athletics are one.
It's hidden.
The White Sox are one.
They hide it.
Yeah. Or like on some of these, I literally can't find it. Like it's not on the 3 dots or anything. My who's not? The Brewers.
Oh, give it out
They're
me
32
a
and
break.
28. They've won 7 in a row. Most of those have been on the road. 17th in MLB in attendance, behind the Rockies. Show up to games.
Oh, shut up.
Homer Hour coming up next on 1430 ESPN.
The